Ladies and gentlemen, I am Michelle Campbell, 23-year resident and tonight's moderator. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
We are fortunate that the township has allowed us to use this council chamber for our state-mandated election, and having many microphones available should make the process smooth. This evening is also viewed by residents on YouTube and is being recorded. Therefore, candidates, it is imperative that you sit forward and speak directly into the microphone. We have used the same procedure here for several decades, but have adjusted due to the large number of candidates. We want to give as much time as possible to answering questions. Therefore, as I read each question, please jot it down so that I do not have to repeat and spend valuable time. Please only reply to the question, not to an answer by another candidate. Save that for your closing statement. If an individual candidate is asked a question, other candidates may wish to reply briefly in alphabetical order. Raise your hand and let me know if you would like to reply. We'll begin with Mr. Comer. As I acknowledge your raised hand, all statements, opening, closing, and question responses will be no more than 2 minutes. It is important for the people in the audience to remain quiet because this is being recorded and we have to be able to hear. There will be a 2-minute response with a reminder bell by Doreen at 30 seconds remaining. Because of the number of candidates, all must limit themselves to the specific time allowed and must conclude at the bell. Our timekeeper and Jackson Township technology expert, Anthony, who's sitting over there, will project the time on the wall behind me. We will begin opening statements with Mr. Comer and the first question with Ms. Crispy and continue with Ms. Gordon and so on. And the second question will begin with Mrs. Gordon and so on. Because the evening must finish before 9 p.m., closing statements will begin at 8:30 with Ms. Wexler and then Mr. Volbrecht and so on in reverse. Mr. Comer, you may begin your opening statement.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ray Comer. I lived here 4 years with my fantastic fiance, Teresa. A few of you may know her. I am looking to possibly help our community in changing any policies or reviewing different issues that may come up. My introduction is good evening, neighbors. My name is Ray. I'm running for a seat on the Board of Trustees in the 2026 election. I'm stepping forward because I believe in our community deserves leadership that listens, acts, and represents you, not outside interests. The problem: for too long, our Board of Trustees have not been making decisions that truly matter to our residents. Instead, the management company has taken the lead, calling the shots on issues that directly affect our daily lives. That's not how we should or we're not supposed to work that way. The board should guide the management company, not the other way around. This imbalance has weakened our confidence as residents. Decisions about our clubhouse, our golf course, our restaurant and the ballroom, the grill, and every amenity we have or share are being made without strong, independent leadership that we all expect. My vision for change: it's time to take back our responsibility. So we need a board that stands with integrity, accountability, and transparency, a board that puts the interest of the community first. When I'm elected, my focus will be on restoring proper governance, and ensuring every decision is made with the input and the best interest of our residents. With this election, the opportunity to set things forward and bring new ideas, stronger voices, and leadership
Timer
that
is
works
up.
for the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know we appreciate everybody, but if we want to get as many questions as possible, it would probably be a good idea not to do too much clapping so that we can just move things forward and have as many questions answered as possible. Ms. Crispi, you're next,
Crespi.
please. Ms. Crespi, your
Thank you.
opening statement, please.
Maxine Crespi, and I've lived at 47 Crooked Stick for over 6.5 years. Since moving into Westlake, I've absolutely fell in love with the development. I've made a ton of friends, and I've come to respect everybody that lives here and everybody's opinion. But I feel we're at a juncture right now with the ballroom being closed and a massive renovation being proposed to us, and at a time where people's finances are in question. And I think that we need to be very pragmatic in how we go forward, and we need to do things that help our community, that enhance our homes, and do it with transparency, do it with openness, do it even if a BOT rule prevents us from talking about it. I believe that the most transparency that we could bring to every discussion that we have will eliminate the trust that we have. And right now, we have a lot of issues with a lot of decisions that have been going on. Without pointing fingers, I don't think anybody was happy with the length of time that it took or the money that we spent on doing tennis courts and pickleball courts. That was closed for 1.5 years. The terrace out back, that was another issue that took a long time, and it's still not settled. So we have a lot of new faces sitting here. We have Ray, I have myself, I have Billy, I have Vince, I have Randy, I have Frank, we have Joe. We have a lot of people here, a lot of new faces with a lot of new ideas, with people that think outside the box. And I think that this is something that Westlake could really take advantage of and have everybody, protect what we have. Because our main asset here is our value of our home. And if we live in a country club, we should make it a country club. And you got my flyers. I have a lot of ideas that I put there. I'm not going to read them now, but I have a lot of ideas to think outside the box. And I think if you read my qualifications, you'll understand where I got my training from. So thank you very much.
Just a reminder, people on the dais, you must speak into the microphone, otherwise people at home will not be able to hear you. Mrs. Gordon, your opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Margaret Gordon. People in the community know me as Madge. I moved to Westlake 5 years ago with my husband, John. We absolutely love living in Westlake, and our quote is, "It's easy living." Quickly, my background is in the maritime industry as an officer aboard oil tankers, navigating various trade routes through the world, pumping cargo. I worked in shipping companies, developing safety programs, and my last 21 years was at the Staten Island Ferry, where I managed $20 million budget a year in contracts and
Timer has to move.
subsequent in subsequent projects in security and safety while ensuring compliance to the Coast Guard. We lived in Millstone for 25 years, where I served on the school board for 10 years. As for Westlake, currently I'm a member of the Contracts Committee and the Subcommittee for the Management Request for Proposal. Also, the last 3 years, I think many of you have come to my house with donations for the Westlake Community Jackson Animal Shelter and the Dog and Cat Food Pantry, where I do 80 trips a year. I'm currently filling a spot on the Board of Trustees due to the passing of Marie Miller. I've been serving for 31 days. So you can see I'm pretty new to the board. First and foremost, financial stability is the most important thing about Westlake. For years, boards of the past were focused on low HOAs, and doing that disregarded building for the future. The most recent reserve study demonstrates this disregard over the last 10 years. We need to be able to get through these next few years to rebuild our financial stability, rebuild our ballroom after the terrible storm, and rebuild golf revenues and management, rebuild how we do contracts, rebuild how we communicate to the community with resident concerns, voiced via RIFs and surveys. By doing this, we will build the envy of New Jersey and where we retire. Our amenities will be up to date, our clubhouse will be beautiful, our golf course pristine, and in a positive cash flow, equally important, our home values will increase. All of our amenities are an extension of our homes and our home values. We need to invest in this community as we do in our homes, and both will grow in value. Thank you.
We'll reset the clock, please. Mr. Palumbo?
Good evening. This one here? All right. Good evening, fellow mushrooms. You're aware of the old wives' tale, how mushrooms are grown. They're kept in the dark, and then the farmer pays attention to them when it's time to shovel more manure on top. And that's probably not true, but that's the old wives' tale. Isn't that the way you feel you're treated by the Board of Trustees? Consider this Facebook comment from one of the gang of 4 people running together as a group. In response to my comment about homeowners never having an idea of what or how many projects the BOT is working on, her response was, and I quote, "You will not know, nor should you know, what they are working on until such time as the BOT chooses to tell you and the community." Wow, talk about saying the quiet part out loud. The community is us, fellow mushrooms, and we're being kept in the dark. I've expressed my gratitude and appreciation for all who have volunteered to serve, past, present, and in the future. But you all know the definition of insanity, repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's not personal, although a change in personnel is sorely needed. It is cultural, trustees filling open positions with like-minded people, rarely ever choosing someone with whom they disagree. Where's the debate? Where's the dissent to come from? Where are the new ideas to come from? In the next 90 minutes, I'll elaborate on why my experience makes me one of the candidates tonight that can be the leader of change. I and most everyone up here, except for 4 of the 12, can be the change that we need. Thank you.
Mr. Parks?
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Colin Parks, and together with my wife Diane have been Jackson residents. Hello? Hello? Yeah, so.
Speak into it.
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Colin Parks, and together with my wife Diane, I've been a resident of Jackson since 1985 and at Westlake for 10 years. We have 3 daughters and 7 grandchildren, all of which are in New Jersey. I came here from an international career starting in the UK, Middle East, the Far East, and until I retired in 2022, I held a senior management position for a large construction management company. I joined the refurbishment committee, becoming chairperson, and then joining the board this year. So I'm still fairly new. With joining the board, I got a better understanding of the financial restraints we have, and it became clear that the whole clubhouse refurbishment project would have to be over a longer period than we originally envisaged. On the board, I am a liaison to a number of committees, B&G, H&S, and refurbishment. I was part of the search for the new legal group and the current search committee for management and an engineering company. So we're trying to change a lot of things. We're pushing the ballroom reconstruction hard with the design, permitting, and insurance, and hope to start the reconstruction in January and have it back in operation by March of next year. So there's some issues I feel very strongly about. Financial control, I see the need to control what we spend more than we have done in the past. Technology, I see the greater use of technology providing for more efficiency. Utility bills are rising at an alarming rate, likely to continue to rise. And projects, the back deck, a real problem. Thank you.
Mrs. Rappaport?
Good evening. My name is Marge Rappaport, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today to answer your questions and share why I want to serve as a trustee. 5 years ago, my husband and I started looking for an active adult community with the lifestyle and amenities we wanted. We found Westlake, we sold our house, we moved in, and we've never looked back. It's a great place to be. I have professional qualifications and historical work experience as an RN with a degree in business administration. I'm a department and division manager level of cardiovascular services with responsibility for multi-million-dollar operating capital budgets and project management, and most recently, corporate standards performance improvement specialist, where I learned that data should always drive your decisions. My Westlake qualifications include being a member of the Finance Committee since May 2024, where my financial management skills have assisted in financial oversight. On an aside, last November, when the majority of the committee resigned, I stayed with 2 others because financial accountability and oversight are too important to walk away from. In 2025, I was appointed to the Governance Committee, and it's a way for me and to understand and clearly communicate the content of the governing documents to the community. And lastly, I was appointed to the Management Search Committee as we seek to find a potentially new management company. That was a mandate by the board for requiring. Okay. 3 goals, all need to be supported by board trustees' goals and objectives and report cards to the community. Financial stability, communication that's data-driven, timely, and relevant, and health and safety risk management with scheduled actions and evaluations of our amenities. Are we safe? My summary, position on the board requires a great deal of responsibility and time. Thank you.
Mr. Tatulli?
Hi, my name is Joe Tatulli, and I've been in Westlake with my wife Rachel since 2019. With 30 years' experience in marketing, I wanted to get involved, and I joined the marketing committee. I became vice chair and eventually chair of that committee. And as I grew to understand what my new community was about, I decided in 2022 to run for the board. I was elected to serve on the board for the 2023 board, and mid last year was appointed vice president, and of course this year as president. In January, I promised the community that under my watch, this board would not be a rubber stamp board. We would look at every side of every subject and make the best possible decision for Westlake. I also promised after many, many years of same old, we would send out requests for proposals for golf, legal, management, and engineering, which we have. And then the unthinkable in July, our ballroom was destroyed due to a flood. We needed to change priorities, work with our insurance folks, and try to get it back up as soon as possible. With my president's corners, I tried to keep the community informed as much as I could. And I could tell you tonight that we've put together a claim into Selective for $1,117,000. In conjunction with that claim, as was stated before, we are still negotiating with Structural. We've already gotten a 25% credit back from FWH, who is no longer with us. And right now, I would like to wish the other candidates, 11 candidates, and all the new faces, the best of luck. Folks, if you think the direction we've been is right, I ask for your vote. If you feel change is needed, I'm on board to support any of the folks you feel that could bring that change to Westlake. Either way, I will continue to volunteer. Thank you.
Mr. Trupia?
Hi, Bill Trupia here. Pardon my voice because I've been doing a lot of campaigning. I need to tell you one thing about me. I'm a passionate man when it comes to construction. I did it my whole life. And 8 years I've been in this place, all the jobs that have been done here were not done right, because every job since the 8 years I was here had a fallback. We can go back, we could start with the tennis, which they said it was, I believe that one was, they were dangerous. They shut that down. All the tennis people lost tennis. Ballroom flooded. How did that happen? We just put a new roof in, construction again. Why did that happen? We go on. The terrace, I don't have to tell you people who live here. Every time I came up to that microphone from sitting there, I came up to the microphone, and my answers were from the previous board and this board. We'll take it in advisement. We'll let you know. We'll let you see. On that end, I'm not getting anything. I get nothing because construction here, the jobs are left dirty. They don't clean up after themselves. You go look outside. We're doing a new job now. The gazebo, which I don't think anybody's going to be out there at this time when it's all finished. Why, I think that job could have waited. And what do? We'll throw it in the horseshoes, right? We're just bouncing around with construction, and no one's following up on any of the work. Nothing's being done about the job itself, the quality of the job, the craftsmanship of the job. That's why maybe that roof did have that, because no one was watching. The house. This is my house. It's your house. It's your house. We got to protect that. And the contractors that come in this place have to be totally examined from head to toe. I want to know what they ate for breakfast before they get to work. These guys that we've been getting, horrible.
Thank you.
That needs to change.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have asked that there be no applause so that we can move along quickly and answer as many questions as possible. Mr. Usden?
Push the red button. Is this red button on?
11-year resident of the community, nine years on the finance committee.
Stop the clock, please.
There, you're right. That was very smart.
9-year service.
You're not on, your speaker is not on.
Maybe he's in the wrong microphone.
Testing, testing.
We'll start the clock
Okay.
again.
Let's start again. Larry Usden, 11-year resident of Westlake, 9 years of service on the finance committee. A lot of accomplishments over those 9 years. I'm not going to go into a lot of it. I would hope you would come to my meet and greet on the 15th, and we can talk about that. You don't want to hear about my accomplishments. You want to hear about what I expect to do in the future. One of those things is absolutely the part that what I call the curtain of secrecy of the board. There's so much that is done behind the scenes that is never brought out to our community. What we need to do is have more open board meetings. We have 6. We should go up to between 9 and 11. But more importantly, most of this work is done in something called the workshop. The workshop is there where they do all of the work of the board and come to their decisions, never providing the reasons for those decisions. I propose that in the interest of true transparency, there be minutes of those meetings published within 2 weeks after the workshop and at least a week before the open board meeting so we can truly ask questions and find out what is going on in this community. The second thing is, and a need of this community is to increase golf revenue. We can't have same old, same old. They must think about pricing policies that will generate revenue within our community. Too many of our residents do not play here. We have to stop the same old, same old. I have sent the proposal over to the golf committee, no response, and we'll see what happens when they present at their budget meeting. I'm coming to the end, but a few more things at the closing remarks. Thank you.
Mr. Valenti?
Testing. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is Frank Valenti, and I'm asking you to trust me and vote for me to become a trustee. I'll tell you why and give you the good news later. For now, here's the bad news. Joe Tertulli is president in 2025, and Colin Parks is liaison to the refurbishment committee. On January 7th of this year, I observed at least 18 people walking down the clubhouse hallway near the gym where I was working out. I was able to identify them as contractors from the logos on their clothes and the devices they were carrying. I photographed our prior president and former board member toying with these people. After that encounter, I posted those photos on Facebook. That post received numerous concerned comments and responses. Subsequent to those posts, there was no immediate explanation by the board or the committee to our homeowners regarding the parade in the hallway. So with regard to transparency, there was none regarding the multi-million-dollar contract they were trying to propose. We found out this year that the board, along with Joe Tertulli and Colin Parks, were proposing a $5 million plan to spend a lot of your well-earned dollars on our clubhouse. Suddenly, when the people stood up and basically said, "We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore," the board retracted their proposal, at least for now. Joe Tertulli and Colin Parks should not be permitted to run this board or that committee any longer. They had their shot, they lost our trust. As Colin was not elected and was appointed by Joe Tertulli, so was Madge Gordon. In my opinion, she has aligned with Tertulli and Parks by virtue of being appointed by Joe and accepting her position to work with him and Colin. As for Marjorie Rappaport, it is clear that she is also aligned with the three others, Joe, Colin, and Madge, since on Monday night, October 6th,
Thank you.
Madge threw a cocktail party in the Palmer Room,
Thank
which
you.
was observed on a flyer that contained the names of the four of them, Tertulli, Parks, Gordon, and Rappaport. Thank you.
I would respectfully ask that people stop at the bell so that we can get to as many questions as possible. Mr. Volbruck.
My name is Randy Volbrecht, not Robert.
Mr. Volbrecht, you have got to get closer to the microphone, so sit, if you would sit and put the microphone closer, they'll be able to hear you at home. They need to hear you at home.
Hold on. I've been corrected. Is this thing working or not? This thing's not working?
Push the red button.
Is it working now?
Yes?
Okay.
Take away.
Of course, my wife says I'm a loudmouth. I don't need a microphone. I've been a resident of Westlake for the past 3 years, though I've lived in Monmouth and Ocean County all my life. I'm an entrepreneur, tradesman, and I own my own auto body business for 18 years. My experience dealing with insurance companies and claim settlements give me a unique perspective on settling personal disputes. Additionally, I have renovated 6 residential homes and 2 commercial properties, so I do have some construction background. I know people who have lived here longer, and they were friends of mine. I moved here because of the strong relationship between the board and its residents. Lately, this relationship has deteriorated. It is my goal to improve the relationship of the board and the HOA. My personal communication and organizational skills I have will be an asset to the Board of Trustees. My platform is more communication, more involvement between the board and the community. Total review of the Westlake Club management to reduce the deficit. Review of existing expenditures and contracts, thus reducing unnecessary spending. Let residents have more of a right to vote on large financial projects. We do not have that right now. Several months ago, Joe, our president, was asked a question, why don't we have a chance to vote on these projects? His answer was, we don't need your permission. And you can read the tape, that's exactly what he says. That is a bad attitude for this board. We need to change that attitude. We need 4 new faces, new ideas. That's why I'm running, and I want to be part of that team.
Ms. Wexler?
Am I on? No?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Can you hear? Okay. Good evening, neighbors and friends. My name is Lynn Wexler, and I'm honored to sit before you today as a candidate for our Homeowners Association Board of Trustees. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to be here and for your ongoing commitment to making our community a wonderful place to live. As a resident of our neighborhood for 5 years, I have seen firsthand the strengths that make our community special. Friendly neighbors, well-kept homes, and a genuine spirit of cooperation. I am proud to call this place my home, and I'm passionate about helping our neighborhood continue to thrive. I am running for the Board of Trustees because I believe in service, transparency, and progress. I want to ensure that every voice is heard and that our HOA operates with integrity, clear communication, and fiscal responsibility. I believe our board should be accessible, and responsive, always seeking input and feedback from residents before making decisions that impact all of us. I pledge to keep residents informed about all HOA matters and encourage open dialogue. I will work to hold regular meetings and seek your input on important issues. I will advocate for responsible budgeting and spending, ensuring that our dues are used wisely to maintain and improve our shared spaces and amenities. I am committed to keeping our neighborhood safe, well-maintained, and attractive for all. This includes working closely with all security providers, landscaping teams, and maintenance staff. I will pay special attention to the driving of our visitors and residents. I will make sure decisions are explained clearly, and I will always be available for your questions and concerns. I'm in the Women's Club and serve on the Pool Committee. Westlake and its reputation are very important to me. Decisions were made.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
We will begin questions with Ms. Crespi. The first question is to all candidates. As per the recent reserve study, Westlake is only 12.5% funded. How do you plan on getting us back to where we should be?
Me?
Well, that depends upon what we're willing to do, and if we could
Talk in the microphone, please.
do, and whether we're willing to think outside the box. We have a problem with the golf, and we have a lot of people that are subsidizing golf when I don't want to play, and I don't want to pay. So we have to do something. The bar, I believe, should be open 6 days a week, as far as the restaurant is too. We need to start making Westlake work better for the people that live here. We pay not a lot of money in an HOA, but we keep calling ourselves a country club. So if we are a country club, we need to start making things work for us. So we need to bring in new golf memberships. We need to bring in, and I've researched our club liquor license, and it doesn't restrict us from doing that. So I'm not sure why the present board or the people that are on the golf committee haven't thought about doing this other than coming to the residents and having them pay for it. So that has not been working for us. And obviously, we see the amount of trust that is eroded between all the board members. So again, 4 new faces might be the answer to all our problems, because we're all sitting here saying one thing. We want trust, we want transparency, we want our money to work for us, and we don't want any more mistakes done going forward. We need to vet the people that we hire. We need to look at the projects ourselves. And if you tap into everybody's expertise here, everybody wants to run for the board. We're all saying that we're experts in this. So let's make that work for us. Thank you.
Ms. Gordon?
I don't know if you've read the reserve study, all 450-something pages, but I will tell you briefly, the reserve study is what tells us everything we need to do and in what life cycle. So we have drains on the streets, how often they need to be cleaned out. We have lights, how often they have to be changed, how often carpet has to be changed. The reserve study hits every single thing. And so with the reserve study, we have a roadmap ahead of what we have to do to be financially responsible. And it's a sad look, because it's the sins of the past, of the last 10 years, of the Finance Committee, who wanted to keep HOAs low, and everybody likes low HOAs. Well, here's the moment that those low HOs are coming back at us. And so we've got to have an assessment from that, and we're going to have to pay for the sins of the past. So going forward, we have to stick to that reserve study to make sure that if we do a project or we decide to move it 3 years later, you have to move that money into that 3 years later instead of using it now on something else. We have to be diligent in how we manage our finances, and that has not happened in the last 10 years. So we need to follow this roadmap. People can disregard, we don't follow the reserve study, they're crazy. It is what we need to follow to stay financially stable. And when we get financially stable, this community, it's being financially stable. It's an extension of our homes. You decide if you're going to redo your bathroom. It brings value to your home. We have to decide how we're going to put money into this community, and this is the roadmap we're going to use. And it is how we are going to become financially stable over the next 2 years. Thank you.
Mr. Palumbo.
I'm certainly glad that the reserve study got released. It's too bad it wasn't released last week when we had the weekend to review it. You know, there's a million ways to fund things. You know, HOA fees and assessments, they're not the only ways. We need to find some new ways in addition to that. One of the ways is to come up with some new revenue ideas. I've got a revenue idea right now. We have a beautiful property at Westlake. We have people getting married at Westlake, or people that live at Westlake getting married, their children getting married, their grandchildren getting married. Why couldn't we construct a little bit of like a wedding kind of platform and have the weddings outside? And that would produce additional revenue for the grill and for the pub. Revenue is, we have to run Westlake like a business. There's $7 million in expense budgets, but only about 25% of that is what the government calls discretionary spending. I don't know what you call it in the private sector. So just, you know, cutting expenses, raising assessments, raising HOA fees is not going to do the full thing. Another component is to raise revenue. And if anyone else here has any other ideas for raising revenue, this would be a good time to bring them up. Thank you.
Mr. Parks.
Sorry. So the recently issued reserve report gives the roadmap as to how we are going to recover our finances. But it's clear that the last 10 years have been a disaster in terms of building those reserves. If you look at other developments, communities in the area, most of them have a higher HOA fee than us. And a lot of that contributes to the reserve funding. Every one that we looked at that had a major renovation in the last 20 years, well, the last few years anyway, had been able to fund it through their reserves, which had been built up by an adequate saving through their contribution through the HOA. We just have not done that. Hopefully, we are going to be back on track and become financially well in the next few years. But it's going to take some pain. Thank you.
Mrs. Rappaport.
Okay. We have two different types of budgets here at Westlake. One is the operating budget, which is what we pay the utilities with, the landscaping, the trash men, our staff with. The reserve budget is totally separate and apart, and it is an enforced savings account governed by law. Thank you, New Jersey. They just updated it after the condominium collapse in Florida because many places did not have appropriate reserves put away, where we are now obligated to fund out to 30 years for all the repairs and replacements we might need. It's a big savings account, and we as members in finance and the board have determined on the basis of a professionally done reserve study with engineers that's all they do, how much money we need to put away. Well, I hate to tell you, for 2026, it's $3 million in an assessment as of right now. And that has nothing to do with how we can save money on bills to make the community work. How did we get there? It's been alluded to. $2, $3, $7 HOA fee increases. And then it was followed with 13 and 35 one year and 14 last year. Sadly, we're only paying $51 right now out of our HOA fee towards building up our reserves. We've been spending. We had a catastrophic failure, safety failure of the back porch. The tennis courts got shut down. The roof had to get done emergently. We had paving that had to get done that went way over budget because of the cost of petroleum products. Bottom line is, this reserve study has to be funded. It's determined with the help of the reserve study people that said, if you want to keep at least 10% financing, you've got to put $1.15 million away this year, just for the clubhouse. Then there's golf. That's another 300.
Mr. Tatulli.
When we started planning the reserve study for this year, what we talked about was to get a new firm in that was never here before. Past reserve studies were done by folks like FWH, Falcon, other places like that. We wanted someone to come in, clean slate, didn't know Westlake from anything, and we brought them in Associated Reserves. When we look at the reserve study now, it does show some glaring mistakes or some glaring situations where planning wasn't done properly back with the old reserve studies. One thing we did see is that some of the things that were reserved for, when their life cycle was done and the reserve study said, let's replace it, if it was still working, we didn't replace it. And what happened was, back then, the money was used for something else, which is not the way to do it. Our reserve studies are not the Bible. They're just a guide to tell us what we need to do, when we need to do it, and how we need to do it. Our concerns with this reserve study is looking back years. We're starting out around 2014, when we did look at the HOA fees, what monies were being put aside, and what we're trying to do, and hopefully this reserve study will help the future residents, is understand exactly where these monies are going, what they're going for, and in 30 years not having this conversation again. It's a matter of putting the right amount of money aside for whatever we need, and that reserve study is telling us today that it's time, there's no more time to kick the can. There really isn't. We need to get to where we need to be, and hopefully with the right planning, as I said just a few minutes ago, we will never be in this situation again. Thank you.
Mr. Trupia.
Okay, on the reserve study that was done, it's like a 400-page study. What I like the people here who live at Westlake to do is go to page from 7 to 16. Forget about the other hogwash and the thing there. This is where your money's gonna go. There's every number of everything that they projected as far as our construction goes. That's 7 pages. You're gonna go home, go pull it up and read it. I want you to read it, and I want you to put your trust in the trust that is construct that's been going on here with the money. It's the money. You'll have money if it's not foolishly wasted on construction. By having the proper people here to do the job right. Money we spent is thrown out the window because people don't understand. They don't look, they don't read. This report, excellent, but where do you see the numbers? Where are we gonna get this kind of money to do this kind of work when they're pumping money in all over the place here? And they sit and go, I, 15,000 refrigerator, I second it. What's that thing out there? The gazebo, I second it. That's 40, that's 50 grand, that's money flying all over. You wanna start saving some money, do what you gotta do, put it away. You put your money away. Here's where it's getting blown out the window. Construction. You look about it, you're gonna see. You tighten the construction up, guaranteed. Golf, you get the right people in there, the new people that they're gonna get. 17 years they here, that company. Goodbye. Now we get new thoughts, give them a shot. Our restaurant guy just came in, we had a horrible restaurant. 8 years I'm here, horrible. My brother owned 3 places out here, horrible. This guy, good. He's good. We're getting there. But this, keep your eye on that.
Thank you. Mr. Austin.
Hello? Let me tell you that this place, Westlake is a financially stable organization. That's evidenced by the fact that our annual operating budget is operating at a surplus. When it comes to the reserves, everybody's quoting this new law, the Infrastructure and Reserve Act that was passed in New Jersey as a knee-jerk reaction to the building that fell down in Florida. Very little of our property is subject to that act. Very little, very little. Only parts of our clubhouse. Doesn't apply to your home. It doesn't apply to the streets. It doesn't apply to the golf course. They are not subject to that. And in addition, somebody primed the people who prepared this survey to apply the highest rates of funding that could be expected. We should not be funding at a full funding rate. We should be funding somewhere between threshold and baseline. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then what about the end run of the board by sticking in the entire refurbishment? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to tell us that they don't want to discuss it with us anymore? We'll put it on the side, and now they'll say it's in the reserve, so we're going to go forward with it? Be honest. Open up. Be transparent. Remove that curtain of secrecy. This is ridiculous. I'm finished. Done.
Thank you. Mr. Valente.
First of all, I want to fund the survey fund with 4 new board members, not with the candidates that are running now that are on the board. And yes, I can say we need to generate more revenue. We have to lower our expenses, of course. But I'm about we, the people. So before I fully answer that, other than saying we need more revenue and less expenses, down the road when the time comes, I would put it out to you, the people. What are your suggestions? What do you want to do? Remember Sean Connery in the movie The Untouchables? One of his famous lines was, "What are you prepared to do?" Okay, so what are we all prepared to do? We are, if you look at the study, and it's right here, I reviewed it myself. I am not an expert in this stuff. I know some experts to go to. I've spoken to some people about it. We need to raise some large sums of money for the next 2 years, for 26 and 27. So once again, I ask all of you, and myself, what are you prepared to do? What am I prepared to do? Thank you.
Mr. Falbrook.
My biggest question is the amount of expenses that we're doing, projects that we're doing, frivolous spending, like you talk about the gazebo, and now we're talking about a $5 million project for renovating the clubhouse. How many people want to spend $5 to $6 million on this clubhouse? I don't see any hands, do I? We don't want to spend that. We want to conserve as much as we can. As far as the golf course is concerned, it's sucking us dry. When I moved here, I was told that the golf course was self-sufficient. I was lied to. We've been lied to for the last 3 years, up to $400,000. You want some money in the kitty? Let's fix that problem. We here in Westlake have the smartest people in New Jersey living here. We have lawyers, CEOs, bankers, accountants. We have licensed plumbers, licensed electricians, people with a vast amount of knowledge, and the board refuses to listen to any of their requests. We can fix this problem ourselves. Just give us a chance.
Ms. Wexler.
My biggest question is, everything is so bleak with our money. Why is the board even talking about refurbishing the clubhouse? We all know that the ballroom needs to be done, but the clubhouse can wait. And I I've thought of a way that we can get the clubhouse refurbished, probably in like 5 years, but we have to work towards that. And the only way I can think to bring up the funding is I have to look at the bids, we'd have to look at all the expenses, and maybe they're not choosing the correct contractors, I don't know, but I'm not sure who said it, but it's true. They go to a meeting, they say, we want this, second it. We don't get any choice. And our bylaws, I know you all know this already because I've made it so clear, our bylaws say that any capital improvement is subject to a vote. Anything above 79,000 is subject to a vote of the community. And I know that all of you think that a successful vote cannot be done because of the way voting is done here. If any of you recall, I did do a petition on the way voting is done here. Because the way it is right now, anybody that doesn't vote, which is a large majority of Westlake, those are automatically no's. And if that's changed, we could have a better system of how this place works. Anything above 79,000, which would include that
Thank you.
railing, which would include the railing,
You can conclude.
should have been voted on. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what?
You can conclude, yes.
I
You
know,
have
that's,
time left to conclude.
I just got, all right, so what I'm saying is, also, the money that is in the capital reserve, how is the money, any extra money we have, like operating money, is it being invested? Is it being invested in a high yield thing, or is it just done modestly so we don't lose money? That's what I think.
Thank you. I'm going to just remind you before the next person answers the question, Mr. Komar, please stick to the question that is asked. You can save your comments for the concluding, but answer the question that is asked. Mr. Komar?
Thank you. Yes, talking about the reserve, really has to be evaluated. A lot of us may not see a lot of it because we're not involved with the committee. Once we get involved with the committee, we can evaluate the finances, where the money's going, what it's being spent on, what projects are coming up, what we can do to do other investments. For instance, golfing. I mean, is there a way that we can bring more money in? The bar, we can bring more money in, more days. Can we do other events that generate, like we were talking about, maybe weddings? These are things that really need to be looked at to understand how we can achieve total capital, the total money that we need without just raising HOAs, raising assessments. These are things that we really have to figure out what we're doing. And everybody, basically all of us here, it's your choice to make that decision, who you want to vote on, who you feel comfortable and confident with. In the past, we know that we've had a lot of issues that we're not confident, and a lot of us are here tonight because we're looking for change. I just hope that, by looking for change, there's areas like the pro shop. You got two pros playing. Eliminate one. That's probably $100,000 right there. You have to look at the different avenues that show discrepancies, whether we should do it today or do it tomorrow. So our hope is to get to where we understand as a group finances, bottom line, what we can do to achieve these goals. We can't do it overnight, and we don't expect to have money taken out of our pockets to have it done today. So with the $5 million with the clubhouse, I hope in the future, and anything from this date till, say, January 20th or whenever office is taking place,
Thank you.
to eliminate spending any more money until that point.
This next question will start with Ms. Gordon. There were a number of questions on the golf issue, so this has been combined into one question. What do you recommend going forward to reduce the golf deficit in the future?
Thank you, Michelle. So the first step I think we've taken is to do the golf RFP. We've had a long relationship with Lynx, and each year it gets less and less, or more and more in debt. And And I think we need to understand that our community has gone through a shift in age. The people that moved in here before, there was like 418 people golfing in 2018, 2019. Their ages have shifted higher and they don't golf anymore. The people that are moving in are still working. So there's a disconnect, and it has resulted in a lot of lost memberships because the young people have not filled in that void that the older people who used to golf don't golf anymore. So that's one issue. I don't want to say that we all need to get older, but that could help. But the thing is, we also have moved into a new Spirit golf community. Spirit, who's the manager or the new management of it, and they have stated they're going to be doing more Monday tournaments. Each one of those tournaments can bring $10,000. So you do 10 tournaments, you got $100,000 right there. And so one of the things we propose is, let's not wait till the year ends and say, hey, we didn't meet our mark. Let's look at it quarterly to see when are these being planned, how much money are they being planned, can they do more on every Monday, et cetera. And so I think letting to see what Spirit can do, but monitor it closely so that we can understand at quarterly intervals, are they doing it? Before we waste half a year and say nothing's been done, or a whole year and nothing's been done. We've got to monitor. That's one of the key things on contracts. It's the key things on golf. It's the key things on everything that generates revenue. Thank you.
Mr. Palumbo.
Well, we have to strike a balance between being honest with the golf committee and being fair to the people who are that play golf and fair to the people who don't play golf. One of the things we could do is stop doing stupid things. The two biggest golf outings this year were both canceled. And they were canceled, obviously, because of the ballroom, but there was a workaround. Both of those outings wanted to have outdoor tents. And the grill vendor agreed to service them, and I believe that the pub agreed to service them. And you know where they broke down? The negotiations broke down over allowing the people in the golf tournaments to come into the clubhouse to use the restrooms. I'm not sure whose decision that was, but it was a terrible decision, and it probably cost us over $100,000, if not more. There are things we could do with golf. And I've told the members, and a lot of people on the golf committee have called me or talked to me because somehow I had the impression I was anti-golf because I don't play. I like golf. I live off the 5th green. I enjoy sitting out there in the afternoons, but there's not enough play. Most of the time I'm watching grass grow. It's not very exciting. We need to find more revenue. And I've told the golf committee that whether I'm elected or not, I'll be happy to help them find more revenue. So, like I said, we have to be fair. People talk about this membership, that membership. It all should be on the table. But we have to find a way to raise the revenue and lower the deficit that golf is running now. I agree, golf it's great for improves the equity of our homes. No doubt about it. But, $500,000 is too high a deficit to run. Something more reasonable would work.
Thank you. Mr. Parks.
Thank you. Clearly, the problem with the deficit with golf is because the membership is lower than it should be. And as Madge has said, the change in the vendor to Spirit has brought some exciting opportunities. With incentives, they're advocating bringing more members through their existing clubs who have full memberships and can be redirected here. They've promised through the contract to provide more tournaments for the same reason. And they have training schemes that will enable us to bring perhaps residents who do not play golf into the golf fold. It's a package, and they seem to have gone through this on other courses and have achieved success. The other aspect of this, as we mentioned before, is the lack of the ballroom affects all the events, including golf. So bringing that back in March of next year will improve the income that we get from outings next year. And we're very hopeful that the new vendor who will take over in January will improve next year's and the years following. But again, this has to be monitored. We cannot, as has been said, we cannot wait until the end of one full year if it doesn't work. We have to monitor it quarterly and make sure it's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rappaport.
Okay. I love the idea that we're getting new management. I want to know how they're going to make sure they're doing what they say they do. Here comes my data speech. Okay? There needs to be a report card created with the goals they say they're going to do. We're going to bring in, for example, 20 new tournaments. Monitor it. How many do they actually bring in? Are they on target? Are they going to bring in the $10,000 each time? Monitor it. Because how else do we know if they're doing a good job until the end of the year when we go, uh-oh, didn't make it. Here we are, another deficit. That's one of my big things. Data driving decisions. We need more non-resident members. We're allowed to bring up to, I believe, 94. We're probably looking at maybe 90. I know that's a sore subject with many residents who don't want people in our community that don't live here. I get that. I believe all non-resident members, though, have to be background checked. So at least you have that security. They still are not allowed into the pub without a member, okay? So you want to increase the pub business and or the grill business, maybe we need to look at a way to come up with a different form of membership where they pay for the price and the ability to come in with their fob, go play a round of golf, head down to the pub, head to the grill, have a bite to eat, enjoy themselves. Okay, stop me right there. ABC law, the pub, limited club license, restrictions, have to be with somebody. Look for another license potentially. Might cost us a little more, but then again, we might make more money in the end, okay? I think this is a very, very hot topic. I think it is absolutely needed, and I think the golf committee has to be asked to report more frequently. The only report we've seen this year was the one Finance Committee Chair gave you last week, 2 weeks ago. That's not acceptable. They need to be on top of their finances. Thank you.
Mr. Tutuli.
You know, one of the things I've seen since I moved here is when we were looking for a place to live, Westlake was marketed as a golf and country club. Over the past few years, I feel it's now being marketed as an active 55 community with a golf course. And there are not a lot of golfers moving in. That's not the priority like it used to be. Realtors used to sell this place because, well, not this place, but our place in Westlake, because it was a golfing community. We've kind of lost focus on that. I would love to hang my hat on Spirit, but obviously they being new, we don't have any track record with them. They do have track record across the state, where like Lynx is we're their only customer. But we're hoping that when the cycle that we're in right now, because people are aging out, and the people who are moving in are just not at the age now to pick up the slack, hopefully the packages that golf has put together will catch some of those people before they leave. You know, we've only had a few packages back a few years ago that if you could not get the premium package or platinum and gold, there was really no basket catch on the bottom for the folks that are aging out, maybe a 12 round or a 20 round or what have you. But besides that thinking, we're hoping for the fact that, and I'm being redundant, but we're hoping for the fact that the marketing group that Spirit had, and that was a big selling point with them, they literally have a marketing group that will market outdoor events, as Margaret just said, and Marjorie, and I'm sorry, I keep saying Madge and all, it's too many M's. But anyway, we are hoping that they help us out in that regard. But we still need to get back to the idea that Westlake is a golf and country club, not just an active community with a golf course.
Thank you. Mr. Tropia.
Well, I tell you, I think the golf is actually heading in. My opinion is that if we got a person that was here for, I believe they were here 17 years, who ran our course, everything that had to be done with the golf, their first move they make is they get a new vendor in here. Now, this vendor they're getting, they did their research on them. You can see the things they write. They're going to take care of the campaign. They're going to take the whole package of golf, right? Which these people never really did. We buy the equipment. We rent our equipment. We don't buy it. We bought 2 pieces of equipment. When it's time, why didn't we buy all the equipment? Then we just pay for the labor. No, however that was, we don't know. But if the golf committee could do their job, they're making packages up. They have them for residents. They have them for people who work, come home. They have a 2 o'clock from 2 to 6. They're trying, you know? That's why you gotta give things a chance. It's a new company. Let them get in, let them sink their teeth in, and then let's see if there's gonna be a problem. First, definitely 17 years, you definitely got a nice little comforter on, you're good. They're gone. Bring the new people in. Let's see what they can do. And then we'll see what we... Marketing, great point Joe just made there. You got to advertise. Advertise costs money. The golf spend too much money for advertisement, over budget. What do you want them to do? You got to make up the money. What do you want to do? This company now is going to take care of that. Supposedly, let's see what happens. But give them a shot, right? Like we did with the restaurant. We always give everybody... We didn't get warm bread. Get rid of the restaurant vendor. He's a good restaurant vendor. Give the people time. Let their programs go in. That's what we have to do.
Thank you.
Just time.
Mr. Austin.
Okay. What we need to do is revamp the golf committee to begin with. Golf committee is comprised of all golfers. They don't want to let anybody in who's not a golfer because they might disturb their concept of pricing. What we also need to do is to restructure the price of golf and the method of golf. Right now it is packages, packages, packages. That's what you have to buy, unless you want to pay a very high premium to play around the golf. What we need to do is structure a series of prices for rounds of golf based upon time of day, day of week, etc., and more of a demand pricing. And if we need to provide some additional, quote, enhanced membership to get privileges for early tee times, etc., we should charge for that and do away with these unlimited packages and so on. Make it more attractive to the residents of Westlake who go play elsewhere. I sent that proposal over to the head of the golf committee. No answer. I propose it as a start of conversation, but the same old is not working.
Thank you. Mr. Valenti.
People go to other golf courses from Westlake because they want to go to other places to golf. Other golfers that play at other courses, sure, might want to come to Westlake. At Westlake, we have golf members that are golfers. We have residents that are golfers. We have sponsored golfers that are outsiders, that are sponsored by residents. And we also have guest golfers that a resident golfer can bring in or a golf member can bring in. So I propose a 5th category of golfers. And we talked about this the other night at my meet and greet. It's kind of a win-win situation. And they would be called registered golfers. And a registered golfer would be an outsider, someone that golfs in Deal or in Toms River or Meditaconk or Pine Barrens or wherever they golf, but they've heard so much about Westlake and they want to come golf at Westlake. Now, what would be so bad if we charged them like a nominal fee, an annual fee of about $100? They have to come in and they have to be interviewed by the board or the golf committee or maybe one of the pros. Okay, you get their driver's license information, get their credit card info, and you get their license plate info. And once they're approved, they could call up for a tea time. When? Day before, a week before, I don't know, we have to figure that out, okay? And the price would have to be figured out. But I bet you if you advertised out there, Monmouth Ocean County, you would get a lot more golfers than we have now, because the course, 2 o'clock on, is mostly empty the way I see it.
Thank you. Mr. Volberg.
I kind of agree with the additional membership. We need more people coming in. The biggest argument or discussion I have with people is that they do not get along with the golf committee as it stands. We need to change up the golf committee, putting 2 people who play golf and maybe 2 people who don't play golf and maybe business people to look at better plans to improve the golfing. Our golf committee keeps on blaming the residents. Well, it's the residents' fault. No, it's not. The residents are here and they actually want to play golf. It's the golf committee that's not supplying the plans that the residents want. And that needs to be changed, along with the makeup of the golf committee. Now, all these suggestions that we had up here have been submitted to the board over this past 2 years. Yet the board refuses to use these plans. That is what has to change. We need 4 new faces, new ideas to go forward. Thank you.
Ms. Wexler.
Well, first, I know there are several sponsored golfers that are guests of people that live here. Those people should have fobs and should be allowed access to the clubhouse, to go to the bathroom, to go to the restaurant and the bar. I think that would bring in a lot more revenue. Also, since I moved here 5 years ago, the working capital contribution you pay at closing has like quadrupled. They're paying like 9 months now. Where's that money going? Part of that money, first, they should probably raise it again, and part of that money should go into the golf course. Because as everybody has said, we live in a golf community. It's Westlake Golf and Country Club. I don't play golf, and I won't play golf. And I don't appreciate when people tell me, because I live here, I should play golf, but I don't. They need to let more people from outside come in, and I'm not saying they should get into the clubhouse, but the sponsored people should have a fob and should be able to go inside. Use the bathroom, use the bar, use the restaurant. And I really think that the capital contribution should be increased, and that increased money should go to the golf course. Not for the people that live here already, though. And also, I know people that live in other golf communities, and they've got set up spaces with drinks, not alcohol, water, soda, stuff to eat. I think that would make it more attractive to outside people to come, and for more sponsored members. So that's my idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Komar.
Okay, yes. Speaking about the golf, I feel that the money, the revenue that we're trying to acquire, if we do tournaments and we have open golf situations where, whether it be Monday or Sunday, where are they going to get their beverages from? They bring it themselves. There's no bar open. The cafe's not open. The restaurant's not open. So all of it leads to, if we're going to expand golfing on Sunday and Monday, we need to expand also the grill, the bar, and everything else. We need to have more money coming in. Drinking alcohol, they're not going to have 1 drink. They may have 2 drinks, whichever. Why is it so hard to suggest to the board to open up on Sunday and Monday? Is it because Lynette has some type of stronghold? We don't know. but we're going to find out. There's an issue there. Sunday and Monday, the community wants to be able to relax. There's a working community still in this residence. I work 5 days a week, sometimes 6. So the weekends mean a lot to some other individuals than the ones that may be retired. So we need to try to take care of every certain group that we have, but definitely Sunday and Monday, on the weekends, open up the clubhouse, change the hours, have 2 shifts working side by side, with the grill, with the restaurant, whatever the case may be. I know I've played golf in the past. I just haven't played golf lately. I would like that. I would like to do that. Maybe there should be other packages, at lower prices. One time, I don't know, just a one-time chance of playing, that's all. That's
Thank
my
you.
time. Thanks anyway.
Mrs. Crespi?
Well, it's really not fun to go last because everybody said everything that I was going to say. I think everybody read it in my flyer, okay? Because my first idea is that we have to open up the golf course to other people outside. Because if we do not do that, there's not going to be enough revenue, and you're going to keep going to the residents and asking them for an assessment. All we have to do, because each guest is allowed 9 people, and that's what the club liquor license says. So we have to develop a way where we can give the golfer a fob. He's already registered getting a car. The pro shop knows who he is. We vet them, like Frank says, however fast you could do that. You give them a fob, you charge them $50, whatever it is, until they return it. You give them access to bathrooms, you give them access to the bar, you give them access to the restaurant. And when we have tournaments of 250 people, it would be nice to have the cafe open, because we blew that. We had so many people there, and the cafe wasn't open to serve 1 drop of water. So if you're inviting all these people and you want to get revenue, like Ray said, we have to open up the bar. The bar should not be closed on 5 days a week, 2 days a week. It should be open 6 days a week. We should have pool service with drinks and bar service. We really need to start thinking out the box, because if we did that, the bar is our greatest revenue. We could have a ton more money if we had music and we had dancing and stuff like that every Saturday and Sunday. I want to remind everybody, we are a country club. So we have to think outside the box, and we have to move this forward. That's it, we have to.
Thank you. This is a quick question, so we don't need a clock on this. There are 2 responses, because we only have a few minutes left. So everyone, in the past year, what committees have you served on? And if you are not elected, will you volunteer for a committee? And we'll begin with Mr. Palumbo.
Well, in the past year, I haven't served on any committees. I did volunteer to be on the contract committee after a conversation with Joe Tatulli, and he suggested I apply to be on the contract committee. For the longest time, I never heard anything. He suggested I be on the contract committee because I spent 40 years in the insurance business, writing contracts. If you lease a car or buy a car, I hope you bought gap insurance to protect you from the difference between the value of the car and the remaining payments. If you did, I invented gap insurance in 1990 when I worked for AIG.
The question, just 2 comments.
2 comments?
In the past year, what committees have you served on? And if not elected, will you volunteer for a committee? 2 answers.
I've served on no committees. I'm a member of the Westlake Veterans Club. I'm a member of WAGs. Like I said, I volunteered for the contract
And
committee.
if elected, will you volunteer for a committee?
I've already answered that. I've said I would volunteer to help with the golf
Mr.
committee,
Parks.
raising revenue.
So I served for quite a time on the refurbishment committee. I am now liaison to that committee, and I am liaison to 4 other committees, 3 other committees, and I'm actively involved with the finance committee and the contracts committee. So although I'm not a member of those committees, I'm participating as a trustee. And yes, if I'm not elected, I will serve, if I can, on any committee.
Mrs. Rappaport.
I already stated, Secretary of the Finance Committee since '24, current member of the Governance Committee, current member of the Management Search Subcommittee of the board, and I would stay gladly on all those committees if I'm allowed to next year if I'm not elected.
Mr. Tatulli.
Well, obviously, this year I've been on the board. I've been liaison to the Welcome Committee, the Contracts Committee, Golf, Health and Safety, ARC for about 12 minutes. And if I'm not elected, marketing's my passion, so I would go right back to marketing where I started in 2019.
Mr.
you.
Trupia.
I was on the art committee for 2 years. In those 2 years that I was on that committee, I went to houses that had violations in them. Some of the people maybe in this room, I went to some of their houses. And when I got there, I told them what to do with the violation before we submit it and save you the $50, save you the $100. And I found out that that was no good to do that because it was putting Westlake at risk for a lawsuit. Because if you tell somebody to do something.
Excuse me.
And they do it.
Just the
right?
2 questions, please.
So the question is, if I'm on a committee, right, and I left the committee, our committee, for reasons why, is because they don't want me to deal with the people. I'm a people person. I got to deal with the people. And that's the reason why I left the committee.
Mr. Rosen.
That's my only committee I was on.
Thank you.
Only one. Because they wouldn't let me deal with the
And if you are not elected, are you planning to apply for a committee? You had a second part.
My service on a committee where I served for 9 years on the Finance Committee, first as a member, then as vice chair, and then for the last several years as co-chair. I resigned from that position in November of 2024 because of a dispute with the board, when the board went into closed session and in secret created a budget that was inappropriate, and in fact, they ended up reducing it because they could not substantiate in open forum the reason for that. Would I serve on another committee? That depends. If there's a committee where my financial skills might be of use, yes. Otherwise, I think I would just come join open meetings and challenge the board.
Mr. Valenti.
In the last year, I have not been on any committees. Prior to that, I was on the Health and Safety Committee and the Special Projects Committee. If I don't get elected to the board, I would like to propose an oversight committee, of which I would love to be the lead person of, and that oversight committee would oversee what the board is doing and what they're not doing. Thank you.
Mr. Volbrook.
I've been here 3 years. I tried to go out for the grounds committee, but they told me I wasn't a good fit. I don't know why. But I feel that the committees are so closed door and closed-minded that they're not allowing conflicting views. And that's what we need more than anything else, is conflicting views on a committee. Shouldn't be all one-sided. Thank you.
Ms. Wexler.
Thank you. I am on the pool committee, and if I am elected to the board, I would like to be the liaison between the board and the pool committee. I thought that being on the board does not allow you.
If you are
be a-
not elected,
Oh, if I'm not elected, I'm going to be on the pool committee. And since I moved here, I wanted to be on the marketing committee. I was interviewed by Joe Tatulli probably about a year after I moved in, and I was told I'm too argumentative. Did I really want to be in that committee? Because I have a reputation of being argumentative and fighting with people. I know a lot of you believe that, but I'm not. And
My friend.
and it really turned me off when Joe did that. I got up and left. So if I'm not elected, I'm going to continue with the pool committee. And I'll see about maybe the health and safety as well. But
Mr.
I'm never
Colmore.
going to do the marketing.
Thank you. Mr. Colmore?
Well, I've not been on any board or any committee. Yes, in the future, I will help. If I am not elected on the Board of Trustees, I'll try to help other issues or other committees, maybe try and help Frank. He needs a partner.
Thank you. Mrs. Crespi?
So, no, I have not served on any committees. I just recently retired. But having said that, I don't think being on a committee or being a part of the board is a feather in anybody's cap, since we're all saying that we're not happy with everybody. I happen to volunteer at Open Door Freehold Food Pantry if anybody wants to donate food. And I also work at Liberty Haven Farms, and I donate my time. So that's what I do. And yes, if I'm not elected, I would like to now, because my time is a little bit freer, I would definitely jump on a committee. Thank you.
Mrs. Gordon?
I was on the contracts committee, and then when I was appointed to the board, I became the liaison for contracts, liaison for governance. I had a very brief meeting with the ARC committee, and I'm on the management subcommittee as well for the new management request for proposals. If I do not get elected, I will pursue going back on contracts and possibly seek out the golf committee. Thank you.
Now we will begin with the closing statements. And we'll begin with Ms. Wexler.
I served as president for 2 years and trustee for 2 years at the development I used to live in, Canyon Woods, consisting of 220 homes. As part of my responsibilities, I reviewed many contracts and bids for projects, interviewed all vendors. Decisions were made in accordance with the bylaws and by majority vote of the BOT, Board of Trustees, and or majority vote of the owners if required by the bylaws. I was successfully able to have an amendment made to the bylaws, which made it possible for the association to foreclose on liens. I have been a real estate paralegal for 30 years, working for several attorneys. I have owned and solely operated a title company for over 22 years, and I am a real estate agent and have and will continue as a real estate agent, showing homes in all parts of Jackson and in our development, letting buyers know that I live in Westlake and I enjoy all of the amenities and the lifestyle. I have the experience and knowledge necessary to be a successful member of our Board of Trustees and will be an asset to our management of Westlake. If elected, I promise to serve with honesty, integrity, and dedication. I want to work alongside each one of you to preserve the values we cherish and address any challenges we face. Together, we can continue to build a community that we're proud to call home. Thank you for considering me as your representative on the board. I would appreciate your support and vote. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or ideas. I'm here to listen. Let's work for a better, brighter future for our neighborhood.
Thank you. Mr. Volbrecht?
We have 8 new people running for the board. That just shows you how much of a percentage of the people are disappointed in the way the board has been acting for the last 3 years. We need to move forward. We need more participation between the HOA and the board. We need a voting privilege for the homeowners on large projects. We need a new conservative financial outlook for this community looking forward, which we don't have right at the moment. They talk, but they ain't doing. And we're very disappointed. That's why we're up here. We need 4 new faces, fresh new ideas for this board going forward. And I want to be part of that team that goes forward and makes better improvements on this community. That's what. My name is Randy Volbrecht. Thank you.
Mr. Valenti?
So now the good news. I come to you all at Westlake fresh, like a brand new golfer trying to learn the game. I come with no bad habits, no bad swing, no No bad slice, just a willingness to learn and do good. I come with an allegiance to my fellow neighbors. I do not have an allegiance to or an alliance with any of the Board of Trustees. I will question every topic of discussion and decision whether I agree with it or not. If I don't agree with the majority of others regarding a topic or decision, I will argue like heck to try and get my point across and change some minds to get others to see things the way I see them for the good of Westlake. I come with lots of life experiences, educational experiences, business experiences, personal experiences, an experience where sometimes I had to make judgment calls that could have potentially affected someone's life or personal safety. Therefore, I am confident that I will be able to make tough decisions here without the influence of other people who may have agendas regarding a certain project or topic. Regarding the hot topics, I believe that we need to be fiscally conservative while using common sense and logical thinking to make sound decisions regarding those topics. If we do elect 4 new like-minded, fiscally conservative, transparent trustees onto the board, then we can financially stabilize our lifestyle here at Westlake, and we can also have our recreational lifestyle flourish long into the future. My slogan promised honesty, integrity, and transparency. Speaking of transparency, our bylaws read as follows. Meetings open to owners. All board meetings shall be open to attendance by all owners. The board may exclude or restrict attendance at those meetings or portions of meetings at which any of the following matters are to be discussed. Any matter which would constitute an unwarranted invasion of privacy, any pending or anticipated litigation or negotiations, any matters falling within attorney-client privilege, any matter involving the employment of an officer or employee. Those are the exclusions. If we
Thank you.
can provide more transparency, we'll all know a lot more about what goes on at Westlake.
Mr. Usden.
You know, I bring to this campaign financial credentials as a CPA, many, many years of financial management, and member of the C-suite, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Executive Officer, etc. But I also bring 15 years of service on the Finance Committee of an HOA in Florida, that a 1,900-unit community that owned and operated a golf course, and 9 years in this community on the Finance Committee. It's important for us to recognize, and what I will strive for, is openness between the community and the board. That is why I've provided this couple of suggestions, at least to start to get that ball rolling. But it also requires education by the board of the community on what things mean, and also getting things out to the community on a timely basis so that they can evaluate it and try and understand it, especially complicated documents like reserve studies. To throw that out in our, to the community with no explanation, a week, 2 weeks before they're going to have somebody come in and talk about it, and then give us a week before they vote on it, so it's a fait accompli, not acceptable in my mind. Okay, I will strive to enhance the communication from the board and provide information. Thank you.
Mr. Trupia.
Okay, folks, excuse me again. My passion is construction. I've done it my whole life. Over here, it's a serious problem. Now, I don't know how serious you people think it is, but it is very serious. There's money that is tremendously being lost in construction because none of the jobs are being dealt right. They're not dealt with the contractors, they're not dealt with the subcontractors. They're all over the place with it. We need to zero in on the jobs in phases. We don't need to do a ballroom, a horseshoe court, all the jobs all over the place. Like we gotta spend money like crazy. No, we get a job, we finish it. We start this job, we finish it. We go on and we keep doing it this way so we can keep track of what it's costing us. Who's the contractor? Who interviews them? Who are they? We know nothing. All we go is, I second it, no good. I want to know these guys that are coming in here. I clean up after half of them. I got pictures of every construction job from 2018, that was done here. From your tennis courts to your terrace, I got pictures of everything that will shock you people. That I get up in the morning and see what time our contractors start. They don't know. I know over here contractors start at 10 o'clock. I'm already going to lunch when I was working. At 10 o'clock, empty. There's nobody watching the place. Nobody's watching our job, what we're paying for. And that out there is your home too. That's our home out there. And the same way you respect your home where you live, we should respect out there the same way. That's it. You make your choice.
Thank you, Mr. Tatulli.
Well, I'm not going to yell as much as that. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who came here, everybody on Zoom who's listening. Michelle, thank you very much for being the person keeping everybody sane. And, you know, right now, I think the underlying factor here, or one of the common denominators we all have, is you have 12 of us up here, and we all want to do what the right thing, we all want to do what's right for Westlake. We just have a lot of different ways to get there. And whoever you select to run Westlake for the next year until the next election, you just vote your conscience. You've heard everybody, you've heard their opinions, you've heard where they want us to be, and we all do want to be. We all live there. You know, those gates closed, we're all family on Westlake. I have the track record, so there's no place for me to hide. I've been on the board since 23, and I've been president for 10 months now. So I guess there's two ways to think about it. You know, you sit and you look back and you say, okay, we like the way things are running with me at the helm, or no, you don't. And that's okay, because that's why we have differences of opinion. And I wish everybody, good luck, because if they do get on the board, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I knew what I was signing up for, and one thing I would challenge anybody is to tell me that every day I didn't work for Westlake while I was on the board. That I'll challenge anybody with. How I get there, how we all get there, best of luck to the 12 of us, the 11 of us. I've been there. Vote your conscience. You know what we all want to do. And whoever's sitting there in January, best of luck. But I'll be there to help you all. Thank you.
Mrs. Rappaport.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and for all of you who took your time to listen to all of us. I have major things. I believe our community deserves leadership that listens, sets clear, reasonable goals, and measures success in a way that everyone can see and trust. I believe by using data from surveys, focus groups, resident input, we can make smarter decisions that reflect what truly matters to us. By setting annual board goals, then aligning them with the committees, reporting progress in a clear, measurable format, we can hold ourselves accountable. By ensuring a financial stability for our operating budgets and reserves, while prioritizing project, and that's key, priorities, what's most important. We protect not only the value of our homes, but the quality of life, health, and services here. One note, quickly, performance improvement teaches you it's not the person. Nobody got up here today to do a bad job, okay? It's the process, and we need a fixed process here, big time. If I'm elected, I will continue to work to ensure this financial stability of Westlake by prioritizing the projects we need to perform. I will advocate for setting those clear board goals and reporting them in a very clear and understandable manner, report cards. And above all, I will remain committed to protecting the property values and improving the quality of life and keeping health and safety a top priority here as well. I would be honored to have your support and the opportunity to serve on the board and this community that Mark and I are so grateful to be calling home. And I encourage you to join me at my meet and greet on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock in Palmer, where we can talk in more depth than I was allowed to tonight. Thank you very much.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you. So my main push, my main focus for the next few months is to complete the ballroom so that we can get you all back in, get me and you back in there, and we can get on with the events that have been cruelly interrupted. I think the new design that we have will be spectacular, and I think you'll be very pleased with it. But we have to get it back in operation. Besides that, we'll continue to develop the plans for the rest of the ballroom, but there is no commitment to develop the rest of them until we can financially afford them. So that is a big plan that we have to move into. Besides the renovation, our clubhouse leaks like a sieve. It's not the roof that leaks, it's the building. It leaks heat, it leaks cold. The insulation is good in the ceiling on the part that hasn't been removed through the flood, but the rest of it has got leaks through windows, through siding, and the front doors, which I know you find it very difficult to open, but they also are a major heat loss, because every time you open them in the winter, heat disappears into the parking lot, and vice versa in the summer. So we need to do stuff to stop this, because it's leaking money as well as heat. Solar on the roof, more income. It won't run it won't run the clubhouse for electricity, but it will bring in income. So we need to develop that fairly quickly. Besides that, support for technology, push for more financial control on spending, and ensuring, particularly, new projects are managed properly, efficiently, with good contracts and contractors and workmen, and with qualified supervision, and we have financial controls. I would appreciate your vote, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo.
We've spent a lot of time addressing those of you who want change here at Westlake. I'd like to spend a few moments addressing those who are resisting change. I get it. You're happy, and I'm happy for you. Before making the decision to run for the board, I met with a lot of our homeowners. They're not always happy, and their fears, if they come to fruition, your happiness will be in jeopardy too. According to real estate people I've spoken to, at any one time, there's 10 to 15 houses for sale at Westlake. 8 years ago, when my wife and I moved here, there was a choice of about 5 houses that were for sale. What happens if that 8 to 15 houses becomes 15, 25, 30 or more? What happens to your selling price leverage? Real estate values are complex, I get it, but they're also not immune to the law of supply and demand. I've been a successful agent for change because I've tried to look at potential outcomes through the prism of human nature. Earlier, we talked about the mushrooms and the old wives' tale. Here's another one that needs debunking. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. No one in their right mind would think that's always true. And if it turns out, in this case, to be true, you can always go back. There'll be another election next year. 1 seat, 2 seats, I'm not sure. It won't be 4. This is your best chance to make a real change, to really do something different, and I'm confident something better for Westlake. Without a change in leadership, and based on the performance of our existing culture, buddies appointing buddies, no dissent, no communication, nothing will ever change. John Lennon sang, "Give peace a chance." Well, I'm not the 5th Beatle, but I say, give change a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Gordon.
Thank you, Michelle. I didn't prepare a closing speech because I thought I would address what was said tonight. We didn't lose $100K on Mr. Palumbo's comments for a tent. 3 board members are up here, not 4. Marjorie Rappaport is not a board member. She is not Marjorie, the treasurer on the board, Ateliante. It is Marjorie Rappaport. Construction isn't the only thing involved on the board. There is so much more, so much. We have a candidate with 9 years on the Finance Committee, and yet now we have to raise $6 million because we did not budget enough for the reserves. You know, looking at everybody has an opinion on the ballroom and the clubhouse and all of that, and I respect every bit of it because it doesn't seem like it makes sense. Some of these rooms are like, oh, they're okay. This is a long-term plan, but you know, the comments that we get from people on the outside are so discouraging. You know, the comments are, looks like a rundown cruise ship that needs to go to the shipyard. I'm just making comments.
Gentlemen and ladies.
I don't believe you need to say that.
No need for comments. Ms. Gordon?
Thank you. We don't want it run down. Other people say it looks like on their way to an assisted living. It is old. There's things leaking. There's things broken. There's things that need fixing, and it needs updating. We deserve it as a community. There's a lot of people out here that are going to be living here for the next 20 to 30 years, I think. You want to let it continue to run down? We will not sell our homes if this clubhouse gets worse. We won't. We will not, because they're going to come in and see how run down it is. If our finances are not in order, no one will buy. So if you really want to make an investment in your home, we've got to do this, because when it's done, it will be the headliner of where you want to live. Not like, oh God, don't move in there. Their finances are terrible and everything's run down. Thank you.
Ms. Crispy?
Crespi.
Crespi, sorry.
Thinking outside the box. My first idea was, in July when the ballroom was closed, I don't understand why the present board didn't pitch a tent outside, take all the tables and chairs that are 25 years old, are probably going to get thrown out anyway and replaced, and put a permanent place out there, a structure, where we could have had events. There was no reason to cancel every event. There was no reason to cancel all the clubhouse events and all the things and have Massimo get a grill relief. That was a problem. Westlake needs to work for the homeowners. We need to enhance our way of life and be more responsive to our community. Most of all, we need to bring back common sense and fiscal responsibility while making sure our money is spent wisely. This is a pivotal election which will shape Westlake for the next 25 years. I ran a business for 30 years. I worked as an executive assistant to the governor and the first lady who's in office now. I have a lot of experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, inappropriate.
Excuse me?
Somebody made a comment. Just
Oh.
continue.
Okay, excuse me. My resume speaks for itself. Additionally, I also said I volunteer at Open Door and at Liberty Haven Farms. My name is Maxine Crespi, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Komar?
Yeah, my closing statement is everybody on the board, everybody on the table, on the chairs here today, there's a lot of us that are like-minded, a lot of us that want to make similar changes, that have open minds, that have open thoughts, that can communicate. That's the biggest thing you have to decide. Who is going to be the one that you put into the positions that will be able to make those decisions for all of us, for the betterment of the community. We need to make greater choices on the people we put in the positions, because the ones that are in there right now, a lot of us may feel the decisions they've made have impacted our lives, good or bad. So we need to make a decision which way we're going to make a decision with who we're going to choose upon their experience, whatever the case may be. It's not a buddy system, but we just need to make the right choice, and the choice is going to be yours. That's my closing statement.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Very good timing. We have 10 minutes. We are supposed to finish at before 9 o'clock, and that has been accomplished. There were many questions. I'm sure that you'll have the opportunity during meet and greets to ask questions. Talk to these people. They're in the clubhouse. They're available to you. I know they'll make themselves available to you. And it's very, very impressive to see so many people step up and work for Westlake. Thank you, and have a good night.
Then, does anyone have those 3 pages, the 2 photos, and that flyer that I handed out?
We are no longer using